Thank you for joining us for the 39th Annual Business Leader of the Year. This year, we would like to celebrate the hard work and the accomplishments of our 2015 recipient, Andy Warwick. My name is Christina Tachik, and I am the current president for the Associated Students of Business at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. And I'm thrilled to be kicking off this year's celebration of Andy Warwick at the 2015 Business Leader of the Year. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Christina Tachik, and I am currently a senior majoring in business administration, which means I will be graduating in less than a month, which is really exciting. Finally gonna get that piece of paper I've been working so hard for. I have been involved with the School of Management for some time now, and they've given me incredible opportunities to grow and develop. And after a summer of backpacking in Europe, I'm going to be returning in the fall for my MBA degree. Yeah. So I've been involved with the Associated Students of Business for about 4 years now, and I will admit that it was the extra credit and the pizza that got me going to the meetings at first. But as I went to the presentations, I got really intrigued by them and all the volunteer opportunities that ASB presented, and I wanted to get more involved. And so my junior year, I was elected to Chief Financial Officer, and this last year I was elected as President. As a very dedicated member of ASB, I can tell you guys one thing. ASB is a challenge, but it's a challenge in the best possible way. Being involved in a student organization challenges students to get out of just learning in the classroom and be active and participate. We challenge our students to break out of their comfort zones and network with local professionals like you all. We challenge our students to volunteer and get involved with the community. And as we face these challenges, we find ourselves progressing and growing, and it's a great thing that we can do. ASB hosts many guest speakers throughout the year, and we have people come in and talk to us about anything from investing and saving for retirement, for interview and resume tips, or even about what it's like to be Business Leader of the Year. So Andy, you might have that to look forward to. We also host a food drive for the UAF Wood Center Food Pantry, and they help hungry students in need. We also get to partner with North Rim Bank and host a program called Teach Children to Save, where we go into local elementary schools and talk to children about the basics of saving money, and it's a lot of fun. One of the biggest challenges and opportunities to develop ourselves comes from our involvement with Business Leader of the Year. Participating in this prestigious event requires students to use many professional skills, such as teamwork, project management, leadership, committee work, and how to deal with issues as they come up, like exploding vases from last year. These experiences prepare us for our professional careers and give us a skill set that employees desire. When you guys see Business Leader of the Year listed on resumes, understand that we have stepped up to the challenges offered us, and we're willing to work above and beyond the average student. So it takes numerous volunteer hours and many students to get to where we are tonight.
Hello, my name is Kristen Rowland, and I am a senior majoring in accounting. I'm also enrolled in the MBA program for next year. I am co-chair of the Decorations Committee. I hope you guys all like it. And a member and officer of GAP. So I have a few more congratulatory comments to share. So from Congressman Don Young, thank you for your many years of public, private, and political service. You never stepped back when a job needed to get done. From Senator Lisa Murkowski, it is my honor to recognize your outstanding contributions to enriching our state. You are a great leader and powerful role model. Thank you for helping make Alaska a better place to live and raise a family. And I actually have that letter with me here, so I would like to give you that. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Dean of the School of Management, Dr. Mark Herman is an extraordinary leader who has been in his position since 2007, enjoying one of the longest terms as the dean of the top business school in Alaska. Dean Herman says the best part of his job is working with students and watching them progress towards their careers. When he's not bragging about the SOM students and faculty, you often hear him talking about his other favorite passion, the San Francisco Giants. He and his wife, Diane, have an 18-year-old son, Jake, and twin 10-year-old boys, Ben and Dylan. Mark looks forward to a summer of coaching the kids in baseball and taking them fishing. Please welcome Mark Herman.
Thank you, Kristen. It is my pleasure to honor Andy Warwick as our 39th Business Leader of the Year for his service in the interior and throughout Alaska. Andy is really a role model for our students. In Andy, they see someone who is hugely successful in both his personal and professional life, who is a super nice person, who's an accountant who is a lot of fun, and who is very humbled in receiving accolades such as this. We all ate dinner at his house with a lot of the students in the planning committee. We ate dinner with Andy and Judy and their 7 dogs, and it was so much fun. The School of Management is a strong and thriving institution, even during these times of economic uncertainty. We have over 700 students, and we're growing fast. We have more than doubled the number of students since 2007. This is a place where students know their classmates, they know their instructors well, and it's a place where they feel special. And part of that special feeling is because of everybody here. I mean, our school is just so blessed by having a strong community, and this is how education should be. It should not only be faculty, staff, and students, but it should be you guys at all. And you just mean so much to our students, especially through events like this. What sets the School of Management apart is this opportunity to give our students hands-on and experiential and active learning experiences. So they're talking to you guys, over 400 people in this room. There's just many events they're going to, they're writing, they give speeches, they do business plans, marketing plans. And I would say that at least half of the education that our students have is outside the classroom. We also have a robust internship program with prestigious placements in companies like BP and Alyeska and numerous local and statewide accounting firms. Students are encouraged to join one of our 10 student organizations. They have focus in entrepreneurship, to leadership, to accounting. These groups provide more opportunities to give back to the greater Fairbanks area. For example, one program offers free tax assistance to community members, and they are as happy as many of you accountants in the room to see the tax day behind us. In closing, I want to thank all of you here tonight who have supported our students in just so many different ways. I especially want to thank School of Management alumnus Andy Warwick, whose extraordinary contribution to work, community, and family sends a message to our students that they can have a balanced and fulfilling career in Alaska or wherever their life's journey takes them. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa Larson. I'm a senior majoring in accounting, and I'm soon to be an MBA student with the university as well. I'm also a student officer of GAP and another of the co-chairs for decorations, so again, hopefully you like it. Our next speaker is an alumnus of UAF and has worked for the University of Alaska system since 1985 in a broad range of administrative, academic, and executive positions. He received his BS in 1984 and his PhD in 1997. Mike Sfraga currently serves as Vice Chancellor for the University in Student Advancement and is Professor of Arctic Policy in the School of Natural Resources and Extension. His areas of academic focus include Arctic policy, polar geography, geographic exploration, and the history of field science. He is the author of Bradford Washburn, A Life of Exploration, the biography of celebrated American explorer Bradford Washburn. Dr. Sfraga was recently selected as a co-lead scholar of the U.S. State Department's Fulbright Arctic Initiative, an international initiative to coincide with the U.S. chairmanship of the Arctic Council from 2015 until 2017. And a fun fact about him, his most recent music download was Creedence Clearwater Revival. So it is my sincere pleasure to introduce Vice Chancellor Mike Sfraga.
Thank you, I think. And I'm glad you left it to music downloads. And I have no embarrassing remarks in terms of Creedence Clearwater Revival. Thank you for supporting that download. Could have been far worse. Michael Jackson. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting the university. Over 400 tickets sold, sold out crowd again. Thank you. Now it's time to go off script. Our School of Management is one of the pillars of our institution, and you know that. But when we think about what makes UAF different and what makes Fairbanks different, we can list a long list of things. But our School of Management is one of those schools we are so very proud of because of the dean's leadership, the student leadership, the staff leadership. But because when you think about the legacy of this award and who we recognize, it really is the leadership of our city, of our borough, of our state, and in many cases influencing the nation. So a school doing the things that it should do to grow our state, but also influencing our state and in fact nationally. So Mark, thank you. Thank you to our students and thank you to our staff. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is James Gilchrist and I'm majoring in Homeland Security and Emergency Management. I'm currently the Secretary of Student Veterans of UAF and I'm the Vice President of SOLD. And I'm here to introduce to you someone very special and unique to UAF. Erin Rose McGowan, born and raised in Fairbanks, Alaska, holds 2 degrees from the University of Alaska Fairbanks. She graduated with leadership honors from the School of Management in 2014. Erin is quite familiar with the Business Leader of the Year. She has volunteered numerous hours of her time when she served as a committee chair. She currently works for the Alyeska Pipeline Service and the Anchorage office in the Purchasing and Travel Program. And I hear she just received a promotion. Please welcome Erin Rose McGowan.
Thank you, James. Good evening. I am Erin Rose McGowan. This is my 4th Business Leader of the Year and the first time I've attended as a guest and not a student volunteer. I have to say I'm almost a little disappointed that I won't be folding chair covers after the event. The students have done an amazing job tonight honoring Mr. Warwick for his service to the Fairbanks community. I'd like to commend them on their hard work and congratulate Mr. Warwick for his achievement. As a school management student, I was involved in 2 of the organizations, Students Offering Leadership Development and the Associated Students of Business, and of course, Business Leader of the Year. 2 years ago, I met my future boss right here in this room. I was seated at the Alyeska Pipeline table with its Director of Supply Chain Management and SOM alumnus, Dan Flodine. Talk about a networking opportunity. When I introduced myself as the soon-to-start supply chain management intern, he said, "Oh, that's my department. I'm the director of supply chain." So I followed up with an email thanking him for buying my ticket. Oh, did you? And I later realized how high up the director of supply chain management is in Alyeska. It was very humbling having dinner with him. But the Business Leader of the Year isn't just about amazing networking opportunities. More importantly, it takes you out of your comfort zone. It gets you out into the public, and it teaches you tangible skills that do get noticed in the workplace. I'm certain that through my involvement with school management student organizations and this prestigious event, that Alyeska recognized that I wasn't just graduating with a business degree. I was graduating with experience that I could really apply. Everything I learned from project planning, conflict resolution, public speaking, business etiquette, to the students, even my chair cover folding skills came in handy when I was asked to be on the Alyeska Holiday Party Committee. So to the students, I offer this advice. Take advantage of these amazing opportunities that student organizations offer. You're building both personal and professional skills that will serve you for years to come after graduation. And to our amazing business professionals in the room, these students are learning work ethic and a commitment to excellence, and that's something that can't be learned in a textbook. So as an alumna, I plan to continue to support the School of Management and the student organizations that helped me achieve my full potential as a student and obtain a career I'm very proud of. And I hope you'll join me tonight in supporting these students and their organizations.
The community gives so much to us that it's really our duty to give back. We're really lucky here in Fairbanks. We have an amazing business school and lots of resources made available to us through business leaders and community members, so I think it's really our job to give back.
The community definitely benefits, one, because if we're volunteering and helping, we're obviously providing a service. But on a second level, especially in regards to the School of Management, employers are looking at the new generation, the new workforce that's coming up after they graduate.
Our student organization is directly involved with the safety and security of our community. We have students who volunteer with local fire departments, we have students who volunteer with our Red Cross, and we even have a student who's involved with the Fairbanks North Star Boroughs Emergency Planning Group. I like to think that in this way, our students benefit from the ties with the community, and at the same time the community benefits as a result of the efforts of the student.
All of us is better than one of us, and when we serve like that, in that mindset, we're able to achieve a lot more.
It's important for students to volunteer because there is a real connection between learning in the classroom and then volunteering out in the community. For instance, when my student organization SOLD teaches high school students about leadership or goes out and volunteers for Have a Heart auction, it's a win-win situation for both the students and the community. They're getting hands-on experience that's instrumental to their growth and exactly what our employers are looking for.
Today ASB got to partner with local Northern Bank on a program called Teach Children to Save. We went into Hunter Elementary School and taught children the basics of saving. It was so rewarding seeing all that energy from these young, bright kids.
I think it's easy for students to get caught up in the busyness of classes, exams, and projects. Being involved with a student organization like ASB has really opened my eyes to the benefit of community-university partnerships. Through volunteering, we get to give back and also gain experience that we can't gain from a textbook.
It's important for student groups to volunteer because one, they get a sense of teamwork and they get an opportunity to work with people from diverse backgrounds, and two, they get to share their passions with other people, and how cool is that? It's really easy to get caught up in school and work and our personal lives, so I think it says a lot about our students who are willing to go the extra mile and help out. GAP, the Great Alaskan Accounting People, the student accounting organization on campus, is just wrapping up VITA, which is Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, where the students prepare taxes for free for the UAF community and the Fairbanks community, and they get to share their passion about accounting and help others.
When I first came to UAF, I kind of just felt like another number. Then I got involved volunteering with school management, and I don't feel like just another number anymore. I feel appreciated and valued.
I think volunteering helps me grow as a person in that it really shows how blessed and fortunate that we are up here. And a lot of people may take that for granted, and you know, helping someone that is less fortunate than you really helps you appreciate what you already have.
Fairbanks is such a great place, and to be able to give back is an amazing thing. I love just helping out wherever I can.
Good evening. My name is Travis Cortez, and I was born and raised in Fairbanks. I am a non-traditional student, a senior majoring in accounting with plans of entering the MBA program after I graduate. I am a member of the Associated Students of Business, as well as Great Alaskan Accounting People. Last year, I helped with the Business Leader of the Year behind the scenes, preparing myself for a leadership role. This year, I'm the marketing chair, part of the team responsible for producing the video you just watched. This year's theme for our students is giving back. It's no secret that when it comes to college students, we're often hard-pressed to be able to give back monetarily. What we can offer is enthusiasm, drive, energy, differing viewpoints, and of course, plenty of youthful sarcasm. Before restarting my college career, I worked several years as a mechanic. In fact, I worked side by side with Andy's nephew, Jeremy Warwick. I tend to be a neat and methodical type of guy and made sure all my tools were put away where they belonged and my bay was clean. Jeremy's the opposite, which often led to good-natured kidding. Jeremy would say to me, "You know, you with your systematic ways, you kind of remind me of my uncle, Andy Warwick. He does well at accounting. You should think about that career when you go back to school." Not soon after, I made the decision to return to college and in fact chose to study accounting, like Andy. Now that I've gotten to know Andy and have learned about his leadership style, I find it quite the compliment his nephew thought we were alike. I felt honored when Andy and I got to do a radio interview together to discuss his award. At first, I volunteered for UAF-related activities because there was extra credit given. However, it wasn't long before I realized volunteering was fun, and I enjoyed meeting the other students. Now in my senior year, I have ramped up my involvement as I have volunteered at numerous Fairbanks Concert Association events, assisted in the local volunteer income tax assistance program, and participated in the Northern Bank Roast and Boast as the team leader. Most recently, I got to return to my elementary school, Hunter Elementary, where I volunteered with Northern Bank in a program called Teach Children to Save. I now stand before you with a thorough understanding from the student viewpoint of the importance of volunteering. The UAF School of Management hosts 10 student organizations. The Society for Human Resource Management members organize blood drives. Students offering leadership development, volunteers for the local Boys and Girls Club, have a heart auction. The Great Alaskan Accounting People helps people with their taxes and makes Christmas cards for the women's shelter. These are just a few examples of how our students give back to the community. This real-life experience helps shape us into future leaders. Our state is facing tough times with the current budget deficit, and it's no secret that UAF is also facing budget cuts. Our student organizations are funded 100% by private donations. I am currently taking my toughest accounting class, income tax. I've learned that donations to qualified institutions such as UAF are a tax write-off. This is my appeal to you. On behalf of all School of Management students, please continue to invest in your community, to invest in us, your future leaders. Thank you. At this time, it is my honor to introduce two past recipients of Business Leader of the Year, Dan Gavora and David Hale.
Wow, what a lead-in, huh?
Oh, man. That was great.
Way to set them up, Travis.
Yeah.
Now you know what we're here for. Hey, Dave, just looking at this crowd, what a great crowd. I'm just looking at it. If you could have drawn like this, you'd still be in the restaurant business.
Boy, I tell you. Yeah, but you know what? I wouldn't want to be.
Maybe you should hire Andy.
Yeah, there you go. I got a license still, Andy. You want it? Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier being out there and enjoying the evening than sitting up here. It's nerve-wracking, and you're sitting there listening to all these great accolades to you, and so well-deserved to Andy and Judy both. There's a table over there that says the best neighbors in the neighborhood. They got nothing. I'm right next door. They are the best neighbors in the neighborhood. You couldn't ask for better friends or neighbors. So thank you guys all for coming tonight to honor both of these guys, both Judy and Andy. We appreciate it. We have to continue the support for the School of Management. I got involved in it, and I tell you what, I have received so much out of it. Talking to the students, going up, mentoring with them, talking with them about business, talking to them about etiquette, talking to them about any aspect of it. The questions that come out, I think I learn more than they are. It's just an awesome, and Bill was there here a couple weeks ago, came up and did, Bill Bailey. There's just been so many things that the students are in this community. It's really refreshing when you sit and look at what we have in our community and we're not tapping into it as business leaders. And so this event right here shows the caliber that we have in Christina, Heidi, all the other students that are out here tonight and working this. So, you know, we need to really foster that, and they need our help.
And I too want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Both Dave and I past recipients, and we're very humbled to be part of that organization and being part of the awardees. And but tonight, I want to press upon everybody the team that you're honoring. So we're talking a lot about Andy, but you know what? Judy is the fabric of this. So let's give Judy a great big hand. You want the mic, Judy? Okay. All right. Well, anyhow, so what you have tonight is you have two individuals that really represent the fabric of Fairbanks. And it's they're lifelong, invested in the community, invested in public service, the university. Everything they've done is lead by example, and we couldn't be more honored to be up here tonight with you, Andy and Judy, and we're also here talking about the students of the business at UAF. And those are our future fabric of Fairbanks. And so we want to tonight, recognize them. As we honor Andy and Judy, we want to look to the future as well. And those students that are here, the ones you saw tonight, come up here and speak. That's going to be the future fabric of Fairbanks. And we've got a great example in Andy and Judy for them to follow, and couldn't be more proud.
So tonight we have an auction item that we would like to do, and it's right up here, and this thing it's beautiful. This was donated and for display table. It's a one-of-a-kind piece that was donated by Warwick Glass and Studio. The figurine was especially for this event, so one-of-a-kind, which Judy and Andy have done, and I'm going to blow their last names of people that have helped this, but I met them earlier tonight, and I think I'm already going to commission them to do something because this thing is beautiful. So you guys are going to have to bid on this, and you're going to have to outbid me to get it. But Martin Yanetsky and Jack Grauman and Judy made this piece, and just for this event tonight.
Yeah. And I think they're here.
Yes, they are. So they are. Would they stand up, please? Martin, thank you.
Hello and good evening. I'm going to do that. My name is Heidi Bryan, and I'm a senior majoring in business administration with a concentration in marketing. I'm also the vice president of Associated Students of Business. It's a privilege for me to introduce our next guest speaker. My family has known Mr. Bill Gordon for a long time, and although I am absolutely terrified of talking in front of over 400 people, I'm honored for the opportunity to introduce him. Bill Gordon is a lifelong Alaskan who grew up in Fairbanks. He has extensive public and private sector experience, including current service on the Board of Governors of the Alaska Bar Association. Bill is married to Bonnie, and they have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. Please welcome Bill Gordon.
Good luck, my friend. I'll tell you what, to try to follow up the Hale and Gavora dog and pony show is a little bit intimidating. Those guys should take it on the road. Hey, thanks, Heidi. It's been wonderful. It's wonderful having you introduce me. I've known you since I think you were 13 or 11 or 12 or something like that. Watched you grow, had your senior pictures taken out on the point at Harding Lake. What a thrill it is to have you introduce me. Thank you. If you're ever looking for a good contractor, Apex construction company, I'm going to give them a plug. They built our place. It's Heidi's dad and mom. They do a tremendous job. I think we've recognized I'm sitting over there and just getting totally impressed by these students. I mean, they're up here, it's got to be the first time they've been before a group of this size, can speak like angels, except for the guys, But you are an impressive group, and the future bodes very well for Fairbanks, Alaska, if we can keep them in our community. And that's the job of everybody in this room who owns a business or represents somebody, is to hire these people. Don't let them get out of our community. We lose too many of our good young people, and they are the best. Tammy, thank you for putting this together. And Dean Herman, this is a heck of an event. It gets bigger and bigger every year. I've been to, oh man, I bet 3/4 of these. I was looking through the list of people, and it's just a wonderful event. It's something I look forward to every time we can be here, and this is no exception, especially when you're recognizing a good friend like Andy Warwick. Like everybody in this room, I suspect you were shocked and stunned by the news in the newspaper today about Brian Rogers deciding to retire as the Chancellor of the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Andy and I know Brian well. We've worked with him, with a lot of people in this room, on a very complex project that was good for the city of Fairbanks and for our community. We found Brian to be absolutely a stand-up guy who knew his numbers and was always reliable to represent his side of a complicated transaction. We have the most respect for him, and we hope he'll reconsider his decision. Yeah, let's hear it for Brian. UAF has been in very good hands with him, and it'll be tough to find a replacement. Now, actually, may not have to look too far. I was reading in the paper that the qualifications, what they thought was so wonderful about Brian, and I agree. He had legislative experience. He knew how to do the budget. He'd worked with the budget. He had education experience. He'd been on the Board of Regents. He knew the ins and outs of education and the importance it is to our state. Andy? That describes Andy Warwick to a T. I thought maybe I'd be able to tell you to take a break when I came up here, because I'm pretty used to walking, turning off the mic. Test. Oh, thank you. Good. Sorry about that. You could have told me. Yeah, but I'm used to people walking out on my presentation, so if you needed to take a break, call the babysitter or whatever, it'd be a good time to do it, but they did that beforehand. I have known the Warwick family forever, it seems like. I knew Andy long before, I knew of him long before I knew him. He had quite a reputation in town. He was on the other side of the river, and I was on the south side, and I'm 3 years younger, so we lived in fear of Boots Warwick. And he had a rough course side. Hey, is there a Living Good table here somewhere? The Living Good representatives, the miners. Are the miners here? Come on, I know you're here. The miners, after Tommy Roberts, there you are. Yeah, well, he was a Living Good miner, kind of rough on the edges. And I got to know him better after college than I did in high school because I was so afraid of him. But when he married this woman, all the rough edges disappeared. And he became very sophisticated, very contemporary, and very, very sophisticated. And Yeah, so we worked together. We really got to know each other when we worked. We had the absolute pleasure of working for Governor Jay Hammond. I was down in Juneau working on Hammond's staff, and Andy was the first person he asked to join his administration at 31 years old. To come down and help him with the budget crisis of 1974-75. The budget crisis of 1974-75 was an $800 to $900 million budget, and it was before Prudhoe Bay, and he couldn't think of anybody better to come in and put a cap on that and make us live within our means in 1974-75 than Andy Warwick, and he became the Commissioner of Administration, and at that time, the budget was put together by the Commissioner of Administration. And Andy, in true Andy Warwick fashion, worked himself out of a job. He moved the budget function of state government into the governor's office. And the governor said, that makes sense. Let's move it in there and we'll work on it there. Come on over and do this. He said, no, I'm going back to Fairbanks. So that's how the budget office moved to the office of the governor, was through Andy Warwick's good judgment, and it had been there ever since statehood before that. We've grown close as two families. During the Juneau experience, we've lived across the street from each other. We've had children together the same day, same hour. Seriously, it was a hell of a party. It's a true story. Same day, same hour. And through our friendship, we've experienced the highest highs. We've had some wonderful, wonderful times, and we've experienced the lowest lows. And that's when, you know, the measurement of a true friend comes about, when you're having those lowest lows, or he's having them, and we're able to be there for each other. And Andy has shown throughout his friendship with me and Bonnie, dignity and grace and a good sense of friendship that has served us well, and we love him to death for that. When Andy asked me to participate in this function, he called me and he said, would you do something for the Business Leader of the Year award? And I said, sure. He said, but I'm a little hesitant. He said, perhaps I should send you a list of the things I don't want you to say. I said, Andy, that's a good idea. Why don't you do that? And he felt better of that, and he didn't do it. But I thought it'd be a good thing to get together with a few friends and see if we couldn't ferret that list out a little bit. And I was going to deliver it tonight, but I know it's not necessary because I've seen the script to the video. And a whole lot of that is in there, Andy. A whole lot of that is in there. So I'm not going to have to trouble this crowd with that right now. You're going to find things in this video. This video is being produced by Moving Images. If you don't know Moving Images, they are the finest videographers in the interior and probably in the state. I've worked with them since the 1990s when they first started, Maureen All and Stuart All. If you don't know them, please introduce yourself to them if you ever need this kind of work. They truly love doing tribute videos, but they do everything from advertising to political videos, and they are gracious, wonderful people. And I love them to death. And Maureen is here. Maureen, stand up, because you're not going to get any accolades afterward, because everything's going to be gone. She's producer of the video. The Warwicks, Andy especially, and Judy might have been involved in this too, wanted a very short and entertaining video. They didn't want a lot of boring speakers like I'm probably getting here about this time. They wanted to do a video to get through it. And they asked Mo and Stu to produce that and make it short and entertaining. They're not going to do speakers they couldn't control, so they hired these pros. And you know, I can't leave here without taking a look at this. I'm sorry. You know, UAF has been wonderful in not being deeply involved in the political correctness climate that we see mostly around the country. I mean, the people that they nominate and select for this award, you know, let me give you some examples. Let me give you some examples here. You were introducing them, and it just dawned on me. I mean, I saw Hale and Gavora up here, and I said, you got to be kidding me, you know. So let me just go through a couple of these about, you know, could you have as a business leader of the year a Paul Gavora and a Dan Gavora in a politically correct environment? I mean, these are people that, wonderful people, great leaders, have done amazing things for our community, but good Lord, they sell booze. They sell guns. What are you talking about? You know, you go right to, look, Gary Wilkin. I mean, the first lady of our country is out there hammering on how bad some sorts of foods are for our children. And he sells Ho-Hos, Twinkies, Doritos, Wonder Bread. Am I leaving anything out? There's got to be something else bad for you. Potato chips, yeah. And you selected him against that environment. And then there's, well, Jeff Cook. Jeff Cook. I mean, this is a Business Leader of the Year award, which means you're supposed to lead business to success. Successful business. Earl and Pat Cook, I love them to death, his parents, slaved their whole lives to create Earl Cook Realty Company, the premier realty company in the interior. For years, they strived to build this business. They decided to retire, as they should, because they deserved it. They turned the company over to Jeff. What happened, Jeff? Closed it down within the first 4 or 5 years. So he looked for a better opportunity. He had a better opportunity, and he got hired by Flint Hills. Jeff? Closing it down, aren't you, Jeff? All right, well, I don't want to worry anybody in the room, but Jeff Cook is almost totally in charge of Fairbanks Memorial Hospital now. Okay, let's get to the video. Andy, Judy, and this is the superstar right here, as we all know. Sydney, Jess, I hope you find this video to be as rewarding for you and emblematic of what your family means to the interior of Alaska, and what you've meant in the past and what you're going to mean to us in the future. And we do love you as treasures for our community. Thank you.
Andy Warwick, UAF Business Leader of the Year. With a proud 3-generation family tradition of graduating from UAF.
He cares. You know, he cares about people. He cares about this place. That's deep in his blood and in his history.
Andy Warwick's roots indeed run deep to the very beginnings of our town. His grandparents, Frank and Mary Miller, they arrived in 1906 on a sternwheeler. And his mother Emma was born in Fairbanks in 1915. Fast forward to 1943, when Andy made an appearance at St. Joseph's Hospital. It wasn't long before his family moved north of town to Livengood to mine for gold. Right off the bat, Andy made it real clear where his talents did not lie.
I remember my dad put my brother on a little dozer, and he was supposed to clean the overburden off of some pay dirt, and then he let him go. Well, my dad came back and my brother had taken the overburden and pushed it into the creek along with the pay dirt. And that was the end of my brother's dozer career.
No worries, because Andy went on to establish an intimidating reputation in Livengood, and later back in Fairbanks.
So Boots is an infamous nickname of Andy Warwick.
I think it's because he wore engineer boots, and those of us from the south side of the river were afraid to go to the north side of the river because Boots was there.
Everybody called him Boots because everybody in the mining, especially the kids, had boots and overalls. That's it.
What I believed was the story is that he was so intimidating as a child that all the neighborhood children called him Boots because he wore very scary cowboy boots.
I think probably it's more something in line where around a mining camp he wore rubber boots, probably running around naked or something like that, and they gave him the nickname of Boots. I'd like to think that.
I prefer the Street Fighter well-renowned. That's the one I prefer.
These boots are made for
Andy prefers the naked one.
and that's just what one of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you.
Now, despite all efforts to the contrary, Andy managed to graduate from Lathrop High School in 1961. After a brief time at both Oregon State University and the University of Oregon, he returned to graduate in 1966 from UAF's School of Management with a degree in business. It was at the University of Oregon that Andy further cemented his reputation, one that would many years later come to haunt him.
Oh, I can tell you a funny story. We get late at night at Beaver Creek, and we got a son with us too, and we're at Beaver Creek going across the Canadian border.
He was riding bikes down with his son and some other individuals trying to go to the Haynes Brewing Festival of some sorts.
Andy's ahead of us, and it's just taking a long time for him to get through customs.
And my dad was stopped.
You know, Mr. Warwick, we got a problem. And he's got to pull over, and they're going to take him in and do some questioning.
They wouldn't clear him through the computers for some nefarious activity from some previous time, and I think it's college time.
And Andy, in his understated way, comes walking out just shaking his head. Not really a smile, but sort of an exasperated look on his. Says, "Got to turn around. I got to go back to Fairbanks. They're not going to let me in."
Turns out that he had a record, a theft record.
The Canadians have something on my record that's going to have to be what they call expunged.
It was from his days as a fraternity member at a school in Oregon.
And he says, well, in 1962, when I was in college, a bunch of us in our fraternity, as a prank, broke into a sorority and took some sweatshirts.
Really? Sweatshirts?
I don't think so. Right.
A year after returning from Oregon, it was on to Naval Aviation Officers Training in Pensacola, Florida. He was honorably discharged after fracturing his wrist. Nice move, Andy. Anyone who knows Andy knows about his love of speed, but it was the speed of love that brought Andy and Judy together in marriage in 1969. That was just 6 months after they met. What followed? Harmonious bliss.
My parents are newlyweds. They're pretty close to being newlyweds at the time, and they had this gorgeous Irish setter.
Rusty, we had just gone out, and Andy was not in favor of buying new furniture, but we bought this new couch, which was actually 3 couches.
And so they were gone one night. They were probably out with the Dodsons and I don't know who else.
We went out for dinner, came back. I'm looking in the window as Andy's fumbling at the door, the key, and I gasp.
And Rusty had chewed up a brand new couch that Boots and Judy had bought.
There is stuffing hanging from the pictures on the wall. He has destroyed all 3 of the couches.
And my dad was furious.
Andy was beside himself. He got the shotgun out of the closet.
And he's holding the gun and he's pointing at the dog, and my mom's jumping in front.
So I'm standing in front of the dog going, "Oh, don't shoot Rusty, don't shoot Rusty."
Don't shoot the dog, don't shoot the dog.
Oh, he's just like this, and so I took him back to the bedroom, gave him a massage to calm him down.
and obviously he didn't shoot it.
And the next morning I asked Andy, I said, would you please unload that gun? It makes me real nervous. He said, oh, it wasn't loaded.
Life somehow went on for Judy and Andy and Rusty. Soon Andy put his energies into public service. In 1972, he was elected to the Alaska State House, serving 2 terms.
The precincts that I had gone door to door, I had done very well in. And those that I had not gone door to door, I had not fared as well as I had in the other one. I knocked on virtually every door in Fairbanks.
When the smoke had cleared on election night 1970, Andy Warwick was #1 vote getter.
In 1974, he ran for lieutenant governor. Ironically, his good friend Bill Gordon ran the campaign of his opponent, Lowell Thomas Jr.
If he had had more money and more time, it would have been Hammond Warwick in that administration. And that wouldn't have bothered me one bit.
In 1976, Andy was appointed Commissioner of Administration. One responsibility was to create the state budget for Governor Hammond.
Pre-pipeline, pre-Prudhoe Bay, he had to put together the state budget for under $800 million. And the way he was able to work with people, to tell them no and give them a fair hearing, was the most impressive part that I ever saw in him and the governor saw in him. He was the perfect person to do it.
Andy would later go on to serve 9 years on the Fairbanks School Board, 2 years on the State Board of Education, and 6 years as chair of the Alaska Natural Gas Development Authority.
Those things were all directed at finding solutions to problems that Alaska has. He hasn't put that gauntlet down. He carries that burden, let's call it, because it's a drive to make things better.
A lot of things he's done are very community driven.
I mean, Andy could be anything he wanted. He could have been governor of this state, he could have been a U.S. senator, but I remember talking to him after he decided to leave Juneau, and it was clear that, his family, his friends and his associations in Fairbanks were more important than the lifestyle that would have been required to do that politically.
In the mid-70s and early 80s, family did indeed become more important when Andy and Judy decided to, actually start one. They welcomed 3 children into this world. Sydney in 1974, Zach in 76, and Jesse in 1981.
I think of him as a dad who was there for everything every recital, every ski trip, everything. He was present, and we're very lucky for that.
Really only had 2 rules when I grew up: stay out of jail and get good grades.
Once when I was in high school, I may have had a party, and there may have been a lot of people at that party. When my father came home after this party, he was very upset. He wrote down several of my punishments, one being that my door was to be removed from its hinges for 2 weeks. He was a smart enough man to know that when you remove privacy from a teenage girl, her world ends.
After leaving public office, Andy began his career as a CPA, establishing Warwick and Schikora in 1978.
What's interesting about Andy is he really understands things quickly. And he can get down into the details of a court case, for looking at tax law and whatnot, and he understands it, but he understands the practical side of business too.
Commitment to excellence, of course, is paramount. Andy strives to make sure that when something goes out of our office with his name on it, that it is absolutely primo.
I mean, it isn't just about making a buck, it's about making the community work for our grandkids and their grandkids. And that's, one of the things that I see Andy is being very good at.
I tease Andy a little bit. I said, Andy, we've been together so long, I feel like I'm married to 2 men. And he goes, oh, I said, yeah, one with benefits, one without. His comeback is, he said, which one am I?
Andy's a unique individual from a standpoint of his work-life balance. Andy's one of these guys that works really hard and he plays even harder.
Andy's always been a guy for adventure. You know, he'll try anything new.
To some people, my dad is known as the Hammer.
He's a crazy, fearless, great motorcycle rider. There's no way I could keep up with him on dirt and gravel.
And I've seen Andy on a snow machine boondocking through the Alaska range at 90 miles an hour, or on his BMW motorcycle running down the Alaska highway at 130 miles an hour.
So I don't know too many 70-year-old men that's out ski juring.
But I love the vision of an accountant jumping out randomly into the snow with his dogs and taking off to the hinterlands.
We have an ongoing battle to see who can reach the highest level on the stair climber for the longest amount of time. You would think that I should win. I'm 47 and Andy's 72, I think, but it's a dead heat.
All I can say is he's an animal.
In the late 1990s, the city of Fairbanks decided to sell the water and sewer utilities. Andy was a part of a group of local businessmen who stepped up to purchase them. The skills he brought to the process were instrumental in creating Fairbanks Sewer and Water.
You know, somebody was going to buy that part of the utility system, and other people had the opportunity. This group did it. They made it work.
You want it to be privatized by good people that live here, that work here, that have friends and families that are going to be customers of that utility, because that provides that sense of balance.
It was very important to them that they hire locally, they spend their money locally as much as they possibly could to support local businesses. And they also understood that the utilities were the backbone for the community.
Today, Andy remains the chair of the board of directors of Fairbanks Sewer and Water and has been a member of the Doyen Utilities LLC Management Committee since its inception back in 2005.
Andy, he was so instrumental in both the Golden Heart Utilities and in Doyen Utilities and helping put those companies together.
I think he has a really good ability to kind of cut through the noise of an issue and kind of get to the root of it.
Without his wisdom and his know-how to get things done, I don't think we would be where we are today.
You know, he loves his grandchildren, and they're over here all the time. And I said, only Andy can make picking up dog poop exciting. Those girls are falling around and they're fighting over who gets to do the scooping.
Instead of downgrading and getting a smaller home, my parents purchased a home that's about twice the size of the house I grew up in. And I believe it's so that their 7 dogs have more room than their children did.
Well, the dogs pretty much run our lives, if that's what you mean.
So nowadays, the dogs, they shred his van or do whatever else to any furniture, anything they really want. And he just kind of passes it off. Well, it's okay.
But this one morning, he came in and about 2 minutes later was, oh crap, and out the door he went charging, and he goes out and came back with parts of his wallet and most of his money, and his credit cards were chewed up.
He just likes those dogs that much, I guess.
You gotta have a special personality. I think I would have shot them all by now, but not Andy. He's
Andy could have just been a business owner and done his thing, but he did more than that. He was a mentor to many, many people along the way.
You gotta love that about a guy that's just still willing to help young people in the community try to be successful.
I've known Andy and Judy and the kids since I was a kid, and certainly Andy, I've known him for as long as I knew that I needed a father figure and a mentor. Absent a father figure, single mother, working her butt off to take care of things. A father figure is absolutely invaluable. And what was passed on from Andy was the importance of education. And for me to break any cycle that certainly I was in or my family may have been in, it was most likely going to come through education. There isn't a single career decision that I've made where I didn't go and consult with Andy. There was this father-son connection, and And I was drawn to that.
He just has deep roots here, and I think he truly is committed to this community.
Yeah, Andy's a real special individual.
I'm just amazed at the number of folks that do stop in and see him.
I have never, ever, in the years that I've known him, see him turn away anybody.
When I think of my heroes, Andy Warwick comes to my mind, and the reason is you can't live in Alaska just to receive. You gotta give, and he's at the top of that list.
I'm absolutely convinced that there are plenty of times he's taken it on the chin because it was the right thing to do.
Paid taxes, upstanding citizens, stayed out of jail, and that's hard to beat.
He's a doer and gets it done. He doesn't care about the publicity that goes with it.
He does it very quietly and very much behind the scenes. If people only knew what he did for the community.
And leading means also doing the right thing by people and caring about other people, and I've absolutely felt that from Andy.
The best kind of respect, it's the respect that you earn, right? So it's not what you say, it's your actions. And when you interact with Andy or see what he's done, and certainly what his family has done, the actions speak so loud.
He has a lot of respect for folks, for working folks, and I think that that's what you see when you see Andy.
It's about the fact that his heart and soul is with this community, and he does everything in his power to make sure that my grandkids will be able to grow up here.
He certainly deserves this kind of recognition. You know, an accountant, I mean, what could be more boring, really?
Andy was changed when Judy came into his life, and changed in a good way. The community's been bettered by the things they've done, from youth sports to civic organizations to political organizations to lending a hand in just about every cause. Together they've made one heck of a contribution, and this award is really for them both.
The best times of our life are now, and the best time of Andy's life is now. And we got a lot more to give and a lot more to do.
I'm glad I made it up here when I did, because I got to see a lot of finger pointing going on after that. That video was amazing, and after watching it, I feel like we're old friends. And after living in Alaska my whole life and living in Fairbanks for almost 20 years, I also know that that there's a connection, because you've made Fairbanks and you've made Alaska better for me and for my family and for everybody in this room. So thank you, Andy. Congratulations. So in 2010, when Bernie Carl was selected as the Business Leader of the Year, he and his wife Connie wanted every recipient to have their own lapel pin dating back to the first recipient, Paul Gavora, in 1977, on up to the current year. And they worked with the School of Management alumnus Michael Gomes and graphic artist Jill Marshall to create a unique pin with 8 stars of gold on a field of blue with the Nanook Bear overlooking the Big Dipper. Each pin is inscribed with the specific year of the recipient. Thank you to Bernie and Connie for their gift of the lapel pins and for maintaining the tradition. And it's customary that last year's recipient present the current honoree with the pin. And I am very honored to be able to present Andy Warwick with his own Business Leader of the Year pin. But only after I drop it on the floor.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Lorna. Well, community business leaders have been honored with the prestigious Business Leader of the Year award for 39 years. Nominations for the award are accepted throughout the year, so start thinking about next year. The selection committee, comprised of School of Management faculty, past Business Leaders of the Year, students, and advisory council members, make the final decision. This year was a little bit different, and when Dean Herman made the congratulatory phone call, Andy, being as humble as he is, denied it first. But we as students are really, really grateful that you did finally choose to accept the award, because it is about you, but it's about us too. And as students, we couldn't ask for a better example of a leader and a supporter of this community. And we are so grateful that you've been working with us on this, and we've gotten to know you and see what you've done for us. And so thank you so much for that. Recipients are chosen on merits of business excellence, leadership, educational support, and community service. And tonight, you've all gotten to see the amazing accomplishments of this year's recipient, and we're thrilled to be honoring Andy Warwick. It is tradition that the ASB president presents the award to the recipient, and at this time, I would like to do the honors. Andy's leadership is an inspiration to UAF students and to the Fairbanks community, and it is an honor to present him with this year's award.
I won't take as long as Bill Gordon did. Thank you very much for that introduction, Christina. I would like to thank both Mike and Mark for sponsoring the pre-event. It was very nice. I appreciated that. Also, Tammy Tragus-McCook for keeping all the moving parts going forward. She did a tremendous job. She's a very talented person. I've known her for a number of years. And Maureen and Stu, Moving Images. Great job. Academy Award stuff. This is the first time I viewed it, and I have to tell you I was a little nervous about the content. But we're going to show the 2-hour unabridged version afterwards. So you might want to text your sitters and tell them you're going to be a couple hours late. There was a lot of footage. They interviewed how many? 15, 18 people? Yeah. They did edit most of this stuff out, so I was intent on not letting my friends get up here and go rampant. I'd like to, I need to introduce my family table, and I wasn't going to have them all stand up, but I think I need to. Just briefly, I want to introduce my brother Randy, his wife Cheryl, their sons Jeremy and Philip. Could you stand, please? Jeremy is an entrepreneur and a very good one. I'm impressed with his ingenuity and his ideas on how to make a buck in this economy. Philip, I believe, is an engineering student at UAF. Next, I'd like to introduce my kids, Sid, her husband Yuri, Rory and Massey, the grandkids, had to leave early. Their attention span was a little short. And also Jesse and
He's all the way in the corner.
Jesse, in the corner, Jesse and his friend Carrie, a dad. While I'm here, I need, since Jesse said, I think it was Jesse, there's 2 rules, get good grades and stay out of jail. I have to tell you, when I was on the school board, I was very concerned about that. You know, they're at an age where they do things without giving it a lot of thought. And I told them, I said, I don't want to read about you in the police blotter. So the phone rang. I wasn't there. The policeman called and said, is this Mrs. Warwick? And Judy said yes. And he said, could you come down and get your daughter at the police station? They had raided a party, and they had rounded up the participants. So Judy went down, anticipating what was going to happen. And the policeman said to her, I forget the exact words, but I think he said, I'm very impressed with your daughter. She is a lady. And we were just so proud. And then I won't let Jesse off the hook either. He did a good job of staying out of the paper one time, but he was older. He just was in there one time, and it was a funny story. Some of you might remember it, but I'll reiterate it for those that don't. He and a friend were driving down Phillips Field Road. It was in the winter, and it was about 20 below. They came across a car that was in an accident, and it was a serious accident. They stopped and helped the victims in the accident, kept them warm, called the ambulance, and things were taking a little longer than they should have. And the police were there, and Jesse's friend had to go to the bathroom. Well, on Phillips Field Road by the railroad tracks, there was nowhere to go to the bathroom. So he went right next to the police car. So the policeman felt obligated to arrest him and charge him. Well, you know what they charge you with. So to make a long story, well, Jesse did get his name in the paper because he posted bail for him. I don't know why Jesse gave his real name. I mean, when he runs these 10Ks or the marathon, he gives a European soccer name like Rondo or whatever. But anyway, he gave his name, and it was in the newspaper. But it went viral. I mean, it was, why are you arresting this kid for helping injured people? Well, Mayor Cleworth gave him a full pardon, so it was all over. A couple others I'd like to just mention. There's two people here that helped me stay out of doctors' offices. You know what I mean? One is Ben Brent. Ben, stand up. Kristen Hood, stand up. You need, okay. So Ben is a ex-world champion power lifter. In his prime, he could deadlift north of 650 pounds. He weighed probably 162. Now he can still probably, if he really wanted to, he could probably hit close to 500. If you ever want somebody to teach you weightlifting, that's the man to do it. Kristen also, I use her as a personal trainer. If you want somebody to push you beyond what you think you can do, she's the one to do it. Am I right? Yes, you are. I have also some special guests from Canada, the Canadians. They've already been mentioned here. Brett Hodson was the president of Corex. He has, how do I say it, retired. In the corporate world, retired means that something went wrong. But the fact that Gord Barefoot, who is the chairman of the board of Corex and the acting president now, is here, tells me that it was amenable parting. Also, we have Dietz Kelman, who is here, who's, how do I describe you, Dietz? He's a lawyer and a good one. So just, I need to tell you a little story here because it's important. When we privatized the water and sewer utility back in 97, it was successful. And we operated it for, I don't know, probably 5, 6, 7 years. We came to realize that the military was going to privatize the utilities on Wainwright, Greeley, and Fort Rich. And we knew it was going to take a lot of money, so we looked for outside investors. And we came upon the Canadian company Corex. Actually, it was their predecessor, Terrorism. And we we needed investors, and we formed a relationship, and that worked extremely well. We partnered then with Doyon Limited, formed a LLC, which is really a joint venture, bid on the utilities, and were successful. And now those utilities have assets probably approaching $750 million, and all the management is located here in Fairbanks. It's an astonishing success story, and I thank Brett and Dietz and Gord because they were an integral part of that, and without them it wouldn't have happened. Moving on, this is kind of like the Academy Awards. You feel a need to thank those that got you here, and most of these people were in the video, but I just need to run down through it because without them, I wouldn't be here. They're my friends. They've helped me immensely. And without it, life would have been a lot different. The first on the list is my wife, Judy, who's put up with me and supported me for 45 years. And there'll be more on, there's more to this story on how we met. I'll mention it later. I'll save it because it fits better a little later. Also, my mother, she's a 1938 grad at the University of Alaska, and she kind of changed the course of my life. After 2 years in Oregon, I became a little frustrated with college, and I was up here working construction, and I would have been in my junior year, and construction ended, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I came home one night. She said, "Have you registered yet?" And I said, "Tomorrow." And that was the end of it. I mean, that set my career on through school. Without that, I don't know what I would have done. It's hard to say. Might have gone on to school, might not have. But that was a defining moment, and I'll never forget it. She said, "Have you registered yet?" I have to thank Rick and Cheryl Schikora. Rick is my CPA partner for 37 years. Cheryl's our office manager for most of that period, and that says it all. I mean, really, 37 years in private practice with the same person. Currently, they are in competition for the world's greatest grandparents award. Unfortunately, they have grandkids in Pittsburgh and Bend, Oregon, so they earn a lot of miles. So Rick will probably be on the million-mile club with Jeff here pretty soon. My next-door neighbor and good friend, David Hale, who I actually think nominated me for this. He and Laurel are great neighbors and put up with my dogs. I mean, it's a constant struggle. You know, he calls me, he says, oh, in fact, we were at Zach's one time eating dinner, and he says, "Houdini just jumped off the back deck, into the river." It's like a 15-foot fall, but he's such an athlete. I mean, he's just, now he's learned to climb the fences. So this next weekend, I'm installing a electronic fence. Jim Dodson, lifelong best friend, goes back to the Live and Good days. We've known each other ever since we were old enough to know. Billy Bob Allen is here, came up from somewhere in Arizona, Lake Havasu. High school friends have remained close, succeeded me as Commissioner of Administration. When we did the videoing, I didn't invite them because there are a lot of stories that don't need retelling. Lance Parrish, one of the smartest guys I know, one of the investors in the privatization. We've known each other ever since we were kids in Slaterville, a long-time relationship. Dan Gavora, president of DU, with whom I talk almost on a daily basis, if not about business, about motorcycles and snow machines and where our next trip is. Bill Gordon, I don't know what else I can say about Bill, he said it all. He's pretty much responsible for my appointment as Commissioner of Administration. Hammond didn't really know me that well. I served with him in the legislature. He was in the Senate. I was in the House. But Bill was Hammond's right-hand man, and Hammond trusted him, and he said, "Pick Warwick," so he did. And I'm glad I didn't let him down too badly. Gary Wilkin, friend since high school, business partner. Supplies me with Hoodoo beer. We're also members of the ex-legislator club. The mayor of Harding Lake, Jeff Cook. If Jeff is your friend, it's one of your biggest assets. I'll tell you that, and you all know it. And maybe lastly, and maybe most importantly, two ladies from the utilities who were there from the start 17 years ago. Elizabeth Stiers, the CFO, she wasn't quite there at the start, but she inherited a big mess, so that qualifies her. And Martina Coyley, doing on utilities. She's, she has a title that understates what she does. She's actually probably the executive vice president. She's paid accordingly, but they call her something else. Very, very competent person. And interestingly, 2 prior recipients of this award, George Gordon, class of 2000, Dan Gavora, class of 2012, also mentioned Martina as being instrumental in their success. Now it's 3. Thank you, Martina. An event like this causes me to look back at my life and reflect on how I got here. What were the critical events? Some was luck, some was hard work, some was persistence. The luck of the draw. I was born in the United States and my mother believed in education. You know, that's the foundation. That's the foundation. You're lucky to be here, and you really need parents that believe that education is the road to success. Next, although I like to think I was smart, and there was luck in finding a mate. Without Judy, this wouldn't have happened. And I have to tell you a story. You know, the video talked about me stealing T-shirts. I mean, there was some reference to maybe it wasn't just sweatshirts or T-shirts, but it was sweatshirts. I promise you. But I stole something else, too, and I want to tell you what I stole. This goes back to Anchorage in 1969. Jerry Sadler, actually Jerry met Judy first. Jerry and I were living in an apartment. Now this is a pretty good story. We were living in an apartment. It was early spring. Jerry was waiting for construction season to open in Fairbanks. And he had a Corvette, I had a Corvette, and you know, we were kind of, you know, having a good time down there. I was working for a CPA firm, and Jerry wasn't working. He was just hanging out. Your dad. And he had guys out at the airport to call him when a crew would come in, flight attendants, okay? Slick deal, huh? So he had a call, and he and another friend of mine, Ben, went out to pick up these girls. And Ben developed kind of a relationship with one of them, her, and Judy finally decided she was going to move to Anchorage, be close to Ben. Well, Ben worked out on the oil derricks out in Cook Inlet, so he was 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on. And as she was coming up, he was heading out to work. And his last words were, "Take care of Andy, take care of Judy." So, two weeks later, Ben comes back. I meet him at the airport. He says, "Where's Judy?" It was not a happy situation. So, we're in, well, to make a long story short, we're in our 46th year. The third aspect, the third, I won't call it a secret to success, but what was important to me is I have a close family and a cadre of friends, most of whom I've mentioned or were in the video you just watched. They're all achievers. 5 of them are prior recipients of this award, and the rest of them could just as easily be here as me. And I mentioned 5 because there's really only 4 here. The 5th one is George Gordon, who is the founder of College Utilities and probably the most instrumental person in putting the privatization together. Unfortunately, George died this last year, and we're all very sorry for that. Again, I'd like to thank the University of Alaska business students for this honor. They're a very talented group and very much self-starters. This is the 39th event. Dan's dad was the winner of the first one. It's put on by the University of Alaska School of Management. This is not a mandatory work project. They do it because it's important to them. It's also a learning opportunity. This room isn't full just because of me. Whomever they choose for Business Leader of the Year will have a full room because they sell it. That's their objective, and they will not let these chairs go empty. Since I'm here and I have their undivided attention, and I have the opportunity, I'd like to offer the students 2 pieces of advice. First, until one is committed, there is hesitancy. There's hesitancy, a chance to draw back. If you're going to succeed, you have to be all in. Don't go about it half-heartedly. You have to go in with intent to succeed. Next, and this is not an original quote, it was done by, I heard it on a news report. It was GE's ex-CEO, I forget his name now. He said, always deliver more than you're asked of. It's the easiest way to rise to the top. Pretty simple. Lastly, to the students, my door is always open. If you ever want to talk about career opportunities or a career path, stop by to see me. Just make sure it's after April 15th. I want to thank all of you for coming. Although I wasn't really concerned, it did cross my mind that it would be pretty embarrassing if people didn't show up. Thank you. Thank you very much.